The LA Kings are not rebuilding anymore. They currently sit in second place in the Pacific Division and have won 8 out of their last 10 games. Today, we're going to discuss the Kings season so far and talk about why I believe they are 100% going to make the playoffs this season. Let's go. Hey everybody, so today we are going to be talking about the LA Kings, who are having a very strong year out in the Pacific Division and are quite a surprise to a lot of people. This was not a team that many had being this good. Second place right now in the Pacific Division. They're kind of just coming out of a rebuild. We didn't know which way this year was going to go for LA, whether they were going to make that big jump forward like they have, or if it was going to be another year of just coming up a little bit short. Well, so far, they've certainly made that big leap forward, and I 100% think that that's going to continue, and this team is absolutely going to make the playoffs this year. So, back before the season started, I talked about LA as a potential dark horse team to make the playoffs this year at a time when there weren't that many people believing in them. And if you want to go back and watch that video, I will put a card up here so you guys can go and watch that. Or if you just want a refresher on what I said during that video, check it out. But that was back before the season started. And this team has been even better than I thought they could be back before the season started. And I was pretty high on LA compared to a lot of other people before the season started. So this team has been really, really, really impressive this year. They've got a lot going right for them. A lot of things have just come together and gone really well for the LA Kings this year. And we're going to take a look at all of it here throughout this video. So let's start just with the basic team stats. They've played 53 games. They're 29, 17, and 7 on the season. 65 points, a plus 13 goal differential. As I said, they are second place in the Pacific Division right now in a playoff spot, pretty firmly in a playoff spot. And they're playing really, really well right now. It's not like they had a good start and have faded off, or like they're playing some of their best hockey of the season right now. In their last 10 games, they are 8-1-1 and currently on a 5-game winning streak heading into their game against the Boston Bruins tonight. They've been playing great here recently. And obviously that 8-1-1 in their last 10 has really helped their overall record and pushed them up to a high spot in the Pacific Division. So overall, look at what they're doing here. They are scoring 2.96 goals for per game, which isn't super high in the league or anything, but is definitely a big improvement over where they've been at for the past couple of years. So when LA was back down at the bottom of the standings, the past couple years when they were very much fully in their rebuild, they had a lot of trouble scoring goals. That's not really the case this year. Their offense has gotten a lot better. They're scoring almost 3 goals for per game, and that's a big improvement for them, a definite plus this year for the Kings. They're giving up 2.72 goals against per game, which again isn't top of the league or anything like that, but is a very solid number and is certainly an improvement for LA. Their overall team defense and certainly their goaltending has been a lot better this year than it has been for the previous 2. So that's been another big improvement here for the Kings. And obviously they're scoring more goals than they're giving up, and when you do that, you're going to win a lot more games. Honestly, though, a big weakness of this team has been special teams, and it's kind of crazy to me that they've been this much better than expected without really getting a lot of help from their special teams, because their power play is very, very mediocre at just 16.6% on the season. It's really not that good of a power play, and their penalty kill's not very good either, just 76% on the penalty kill. This team's been able to overcome lousy special teams and still find ways to win games without getting help from special teams. So that's somewhat overall even more impressive for the Kings, that they're winning as much as they are with these lousy special teams on the power play and PK. But at the same time, that is a little worrisome heading into the playoffs because, you don't want to go into a playoff series and not be able to kill a penalty or not be able to use your power play as a weapon to maybe steal a couple of goals and steal a win. So that's definitely a little bit concerning heading into the playoffs, but I don't think it's something that's going to keep them out of the playoffs because they've been able to overcome it without much of an issue to this point in the season. Really interesting shot totals here. I think this is a big thing that's really been a benefit to the Kings, is that they are shooting 35.5 shots on goal per game this year. They throw a lot of pucks on net, and I think that's been one of the biggest things that's helped their offense overall, is that they're shooting the puck a ton, and they're getting pucks on net over 35 shots a game. That is a very high number. And that's been a big help for the Kings offensively because they're scoring more goals because they're getting more pucks through onto the net. Shots against, another big thing as well, it's really low. They're giving up under 30 shots against per game, only 28.3 shots against per game. This is a very good defensive team. And they're limiting the amount of pucks that get through. They're limiting the amount of work that their goaltenders have to do. And it's really helped out their goaltending overall, is that they haven't really had to face all that many shots comparatively to other teams around the league. So that's been a big benefit for the goalies in LA and has really helped them this season, is that their overall team defense has been very good. Speaking of the goaltenders, let's take a look here at Jonathan Quick and Cal Petersen, because they've both had very solid seasons. Now, neither one of them is going to be in the running for the Vezina Trophy, but all in all, they've put up solid numbers. Jonathan Quick is 14, 10, and 6 on the year with a very respectable .913 save percentage and a very good 2.55 goals against average. Cal Petersen has also won 14 games. He's 14, 7, and 1 with a little low of a save percentage at .900, but a very respectable 2.65 goals against average. Again, the save percentage might be a little bit lower because they're not facing that many shots. The Kings are really limiting shots against, so they're not stopping 35 out of 37 shots. They give up 2 goals, and it's more like they've stopped 26 out of 28 as opposed to, 36 out of 38 or something like that. So that's kind of, I think, helping keep the save percentages maybe a little lower, but the goals against numbers are fantastic. Both of them are just a little bit over 2.5 goals against per game. Very solid numbers there. Both of them have won 14 games. The other win on the season belongs to Garrett Sparks, who won the only game that he's started this year for the Kings. But all in all, the goaltending has been very solid. Again, it's not elite, it's not top of the league, but it's very solid, especially the goals against averages. They're doing enough to win games, and that is a big improvement for the Kings compared to the kind of goaltending that they were getting for the past few years. Jonathan Quick looks a lot better this year than he has for the past 2 to 3 years. Cal Petersen is really coming into his own and playing well, and they're doing what it takes to win games. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You've got to do what it takes to win games, and both of their goaltenders are doing that so far this year. Some other players that have been really good, not in the goaltending category, but actual skaters. Man, I could have made this list even longer, but these are some guys that I really wanted to point out. And it starts with the captain, Anze Kopitar. Despite being into his 30s now, been in the league a long time, a veteran player, he is still the best offensive weapon that this team has. 53 games played. He's been healthy. He's played every game for the Kings this year. He's got 15 goals, 35 assists, 50 points. Is a minus on the season, which I find a little weird because he's usually a very good defensive forward as well, but almost a point per game player. He's the leading point scorer on this team. He's got 50 points on the year and continues to lead the way for the LA Kings. Adrian Kempe, he's their best goal scorer. He's played 50 out of the 53 games. He leads the team with 25 goals. He's chipped in another 11 assists for 36 points. He's a +2 on the season. He is their weapon when it comes to putting the puck in the back of the net. He's had a great goal scoring season, and he might push towards 35 plus goals this year if he continues playing the way that he has. Drew Doughty. despite being 32 years old now, is still their go-to guy on the back end. He's their number one D-man, their workhorse, and he's playing like it. Now, he's been limited to just 34 games this season, so he has missed some time, but he's put up very Drew Doughty-like numbers in those 34 games that he's played. 7 goals, 23 assists, 30 points, a +7, and that +7 is a great sign for Drew Doughty, because in the years that the Kings were struggling, he was still putting up points, but he was a brutal plus-minus, very heavy minus player. For him to be a plus player again, that is a very good sign for the Kings, and he continues to lead the way on the back end. Let's talk about some off-season additions. Phillip Danault, big free agent signing coming over from the Montreal Canadiens. He's played 51 games this year, 15 goals, 15 assists, 30 points, and a +16. Continues to be one of the best two-way forwards in the NHL. He has been a massive game changer for the Kings. He's given them a shutdown center who's great defensively, but also has contributed very well offensively with 30 points. Danault has had a phenomenal first season in LA, and I am sure that they do not regret that signing at all. He has been outstanding. Victor Arvidsson, they also traded for this past offseason from the Nashville Predators. He's had a huge bounce-back season after a couple of down years in Nashville. 46 games played. He's got 15 goals, 20 assists, 35 points. He's a +7. Arvidsson has been awesome for LA, back to his old self, and another move there that has really paid off for the Kings. And Trevor Moore, he needs to get some attention because he is having an outstanding season. I don't think anybody expected this from Trevor Moore. He had pretty much been a career bottom 6 guy up until this season. All of a sudden now, boom, 53 games played, 9 goals, 21 assists, 30 points, and a +17 for Trevor Moore. Unbelievable year for him, career year for him. He has been absolutely phenomenal and a big boost for this team offensively with the way that he's played this year. There's some other guys they could have talked about as well. Matt Roy's having an awesome year on the back end. He's another defenseman that's been a huge plus for this team. And there's just a lot of depth guys as well for the Kings that are having very solid seasons. They're getting great production out of a lot of different players, a lot of different lines this year, and it's really all coming together. A lot is going right for this team, and that's why they're in the position that they're in. So all in all, everybody, the LA Kings are having an absolutely outstanding season. If you look back at the video I did at the beginning of the year, one thing that I thought they would need that they really haven't was huge production out of a rookie or a really young player like a Byfield or a Keliev or a Turcotte, someone like that. And Arthur Keliev has had a solid season. He's got 9 goals and 16 points for the Kings this year, but he hasn't had to come out and be a superstar. He hasn't had to come out and be like a Rookie of the Year contender or anything like that. And, you know, back before the season started, that was one thing I thought that if the Kings were going to make this jump, they needed one of those young guys, at least one of them, to really be a huge producer. And that hasn't been the case. They haven't needed that from a young guy. They've been very patient with their young players. They haven't put too much pressure on them. They've let a lot of them continue to develop down in the AHL, and they've still been able to win with the veteran guys and the leaders leading the way without those young guys having a ton of pressure on them. And that's another huge positive, I think, for the LA Kings. So, all in all, when we look at the Kings this year, they are currently second in the Pacific Division, and I 100% believe that the LA Kings will be making the playoffs. I'm going to say that right now. I'm going to go out there and say it right now. The Los Angeles Kings will make the playoffs this year in 2022. They're getting very solid goaltending from Cal Peterson and Jonathan Quick, who have become a fantastic 1-2 punch in goal. Their veteran players continue to lead the way. Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty especially. They are still the guys that make this team what it is, and they are having great years, and they're having a lot of other guys really step up and play well too. So all in all, a lot is going right for the Los Angeles Kings. They're going to make the playoffs this year. They're in great shape right now. They're playing awesome hockey right now, and this is a team that I have been very impressed with all season long. So that's what I've got on the LA Kings, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, our merchandise store, membership, and donation links are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.